Hi everybody, thank you for joining us on our TNT last day of the week. Been a very busy week so far and plenty of news today. Also the last day of this sort of rather simplified format we've been doing for about 4 months. Now you're not going to see any huge sudden changes, although adding Nick of course from next week will be quite a big change, but he's mainly involved with coordinating with you with some new services we're adding for you and also pressing buttons. In front of me I've got all this equipment that arrived yesterday. I've got to somehow figure out how to plumb it all together, and that's going to be fun troubleshooting. So it's going to be a bit of fun next week as we wade into this slightly new format, but we're doing it to try and make a better program for you, bring you better information, more up-to-date information, more information, and getting you more involved with the program. Partly made possible by 5 Star Marine, who've been our sponsor from the start, of course. There's a link in the description. And also by you. On Saturdays, some of you made some very kind and spontaneous donations, which have been very gratefully received, and I've been rather shocked. But we've put your money to good use, and we've got some new toys from Monday, which of course we'll enjoy pressing the wrong buttons and having a bit of fun, and you'll all get to see it because we'll be going live as well each day. So that's a whole new dynamic to the program. But let's get started with the news because that's what you're here for. And this whole Tuhao story has really taken an extra leap over the last few days. The Chinese businessman Tuhao and 40 others indicted on multiple charges. This story being reported by ThaiPBSWorld.com. And this is the Chinese businessman who first came to our attention, I think in October last year when police raided a party den, I think it was called, which was hidden behind a car wash centre in Saton. Let's go to the facts here. And the Attorney General gave the green light for prosecutors to indict 41 suspects. And here are the charges: from criminal association with multinational criminal gangs, drug trafficking, money laundering, illegal possession of firearms and ammunition, operating an entertainment venue without permission, hiring foreigners, working without work permits, and providing shelter to immigrants. So illegal immigrants. Quite a few charges there, obviously some of them more serious than others. Let's go further to the story. It says that the former massage parlour tycoon Chewit played a key role in exposing what he described as grey Chinese business in Thailand, allegedly operated by Kornchayanat and his network. So Kornchayanat and his wife currently keeping a police cell warm in Bangkok. More information on that story. Chewit's been exposing grey business operations since the police raid on the Jingling pub in Yan Nawa district on October the 26th last year, when 104 customers, most of them Chinese tourists, tested positive for illicit drug use. The pub was traced to Kornchayanat, who reportedly held majority stakes in 22 companies, and down the bottom their property valued at more than 5 billion baht, allegedly owned by Kornchayanat, and his network has been impounded. Which leads us to this story, which was posted yesterday by the Bangkok Post, and it says that foreign businesses face checks for illegal nominees. So what seemed like just a simple raid on a party den hidden behind a car wash last October has now turned into a full-on investigation into foreign companies. When I say foreign companies, these are, of course, Thai companies, but sort of owned by foreigners who can own up to 49% of a Thai company, but they have to have Thai nominees who own the other 51% of the shares. Now, this is used for, of course, any foreigners who want to have a company in Thailand, but they also use these companies to own businesses and to own property. But it seems now that the government are going to be doing a full-on crackdown, because it says the focus will be on tourism and property sectors, according to the Department of Business Development. The Department of Business Development is preparing to check the profiles of Thai nominees at 400 to 500 foreign-run businesses to see if they violate any laws. Now, of course, these companies, foreigner owns 49%, and then Thai nominees own the other 51%. In most cases, these companies are set up with Thai nominees that are not involved with the businesses. But I think what the Department of Business Development wants to see is that these Thai nominees at least know what they're involved in, have invested perhaps in the business, or are involved in the day-to-day running, which in most cases they're not. Most of the businesses are in the tourism and property sectors and had Thai nominees as their shareholders, according to the Director General. And it says that the department will question representatives of the businesses that are suspected of illegally using Thai proxies. If they can't provide satisfactory answers, then there could be a look into their financial affairs. The use of Thai nominees to hold shares in businesses closed to foreigners has come into focus as a result of investigation into widespread illegal activity by Chinese gangsters in the country. Foreign citizens holding tourist visas are not allowed to work in Thailand. Foreigners in the country on longer term or work visas are also barred by law from certain occupations, such as tour guides and street food vendors. And recent investigations have indicated that hundreds of Chinese nationals, including some criminals, had received help changing tourist visas to student visas, allowing them to stay in the country for an extended time. And down the bottom there, authorities said last week they'd found clear evidence of Immigration Bureau officers helping foreign criminals and even serving as owners of foundations. I think in the end it was about 3,300 people who were being assisted by immigration officials in Thailand. Now, the situation is now that all this is making it much more difficult for everybody else to get visas. At the moment, they're checking the paperwork for visas a lot more than they have in the past. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's making it very difficult to get visas processed. The processing time for visas has also slowed, and this is causing a lot of trouble for a lot of people at the moment. So be aware that you just need to make sure you've got all your paperwork in order if you are applying for a visa at the moment. You're watching TNT. It's the Friday program, and we thank 5 Star Marine very much for their support. Another perfect day here in Phuket. If you're out on the water today, you're going to have a good day. And if you're going to be heading out to one of the islands, check with 5 Star Marine. There's a link in the description of this video. Also next week, we're starting the auction of the baby elephants that were made from, well, some of my old crazy shirts. Should also note that I paid for every single one of those shirts myself, and we've given them to Seeds of Change, and they're using the shirts to repurpose as baby elephants of, well, not just baby elephants, we can see some quite large ones there as well, and we're going to be auctioning them off to you. You'll be able to put in a bid for these. Every single cent of your donations will go to Seeds of Change, who help a number of local women whose situations sometimes fall between the cracks. Some of them are impoverished, and some of them have needed a little bit of extra help, and so they go to work for Seeds of Change and they get paid a wage. So your donations will be gratefully accepted. I think they're a great organisation backed up by Living Waters Phuket, and so that auction will start next week, and you'll start seeing some baby elephants around the place, and you might recognise some of the patterns on those shirts. Now, speaking of doing business in Thailand, obviously e-commerce has really risen in ways that I don't think we could have even conceived 10 years ago. Now, this story in The Nation Thailand says that a courier company sees a chance to increase business from live selling online. So these are people who sit in front of their phone for hours and they flog everything from perfumes to teacups to all sorts of potions that you can rub on your body to look better, and it's called live selling, and you see it a lot on social media, and it's become quite the thing. The story says that the Singapore-based Ninja Van is moving to grab a bigger share of deliveries from merchants who frequently use young female models to sell low-end products live online in its 6 key markets in Southeast Asia. So Ninja Van, obviously just one of these companies who's embracing this live selling and, pretty young people sitting in front of the cameras selling things. And it says that the company's released a report saying that live selling's become one of the most popular e-commerce trends in the country, and they're offering services in Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Vietnam. And the owner says that it's the only tactic that can fast-track shoppers' purchases from awareness straight to conversion. So the idea being, they say, well, here is this magic bottle of cream that'll make you look like Brad Pitt, and you can buy it now. Now, this sort of selling, of course, has been on TV and stuff for ages, but this is like online on social media on your phone, and it's happening as you watch it, and you can just press a button on your phone and purchase that item as you're watching it. So it is becoming quite popular, and of course it can be quite persuasive. 1 in 3 of its e-commerce clients surveyed is now using up to 6 hours a week of live selling to boost sales. So these people doing e-commerce, and there's a lot of them, are spending up to 6 hours sitting in front of their phone selling potions and lotions and bits and pieces. In Thailand, Facebook is the most popular social media platform for live sellers, nearly 38% of people using Facebook, then TikTok at 27% and Shopee at nearly 20%, according to the report. So those 3 social media platforms, the most popular in Thailand. And it says down the bottom there that fashion and beauty products dominate live sales in Thailand. So not sure if you've bought anything from these e-sellers. I do use e-commerce quite a lot, especially Lazada. As I've said many times, I bought my swimming pool sitting in my backyard just out there, and 6-metre pool. I bought that on Lazada. It arrived the next day. And I bought all this gear that's sitting here in front. We've got microphones, and we've got monitors and mixers, and so that all arrived courtesy of Lazada over the past few days, and it's just very convenient, and sorry about the wobbling camera. So e-commerce certainly growing, and it just makes things a lot more convenient, especially if you're in a place like I am, where there's a lot of traffic in the main road, and sometimes you just can't be bothered going out to a shop. What does this mean for retail space down the track? Well, it's obviously just going to make things much more competitive, and that's good for you and me. Going to our next story now, and this is Thailand's tuk-tuks go green amid rising demand for electric models. So electric tuk-tuks becoming a bit of a thing as the sun streams through the window. And this story covered by The Guardian. And it says that travel without the combustion engine fumes and noise is increasingly popular in the country with some of the world's worst air pollution. So it says. And the story goes, and none of this is marked up, but Thailand's iconic gas-guzzling tuk-tuks are being replaced by a greener, more energy-efficient model. In the second paragraph there, the owner of Urban Mobility Tech says that when you use traditional tuk-tuks, you can smell the gas, and it sometimes could be unpleasant. With electric tuk-tuks, basically you don't have any noise and you don't have any emission from tailpipes. Except, of course, that you get all the emission from tailpipes of every other single car around you. The demand for electric tuk-tuks is growing, he says. In 2022, their numbers increased from 263 to nearly 500, according to the Electric Vehicle Association of Thailand. And Move Me, we've spoken about before. They're the people who run electric tuk-tuks around Bangkok. Well, they plan to increase their fleet of electric tuk-tuks from 350 to more than 1,000, climbing to 5,000 nationally within 5 years. And further on in that paragraph, it says that many hotels are now purchasing electric tuk-tuks to transport guests, and electric tuk-tuks can only travel short distances before needing to be charged, and they cost around about 400,000 baht. The starting price for a traditional tuk-tuk is about 150,000 baht. So still quite a price barrier there for electric tuk-tuks, but of course the price of them will start to come down. And I think, given the amount of noise that's made by tuk-tuks especially, that I would certainly welcome more electric tuk-tuks floating around Bangkok. In fact, I'd like to see any sort of tuk-tuk, like the traditional three-wheeled tuk-tuks in Phuket, because they've got these horrible Daihatsu vans. I think they're only 3 cylinders or something. They're awful things. They're noisy, they're cramped, they're difficult to get in and out of. I don't know why they selected those particular vehicles, but I'd prefer just to see the old 3-wheeled ones, because they just scream Thailand, and I think the tourists probably prefer to see them as well. That's just not going to happen. Speaking of transport, though, let's go to this one, and it's covered by the Associated Press. Bangkok's new passenger train terminal starts operation. And if you want to find out anything about trains, of course, go to Richard Barrow in Thailand on his Facebook page. He loves trains. And let's go to some images of this new terminal. And here we go. That's the front with the new sign that's cost 33 million baht. Inside just looks like any other modern terminal these days, but quite a grand building. And they've tried to replicate that sort of arched ceiling that we saw in the old Hua Lompong. But yeah, it just looks like any other transport terminal these days. I suppose a lot of aluminium, but it is great to see that arch being replicated from the old Hua Lompong station, which used to be down near Chinatown. Let's find out a bit more about the new terminal that did open yesterday officially. The government says the huge modern development on the edge of central Bangkok will bolster the country's position as a regional hub and boost its economy. It's officially called the Krungthep Apiwat Central Terminal, a name bestowed by His Majesty the King, but to most people it's more likely to be known simply as the Bang Sue Grand Station, after the part of Bangkok it's in. Almost all of Thailand's long-distance domestic and international rail services will pass through the new terminal, and then the first train out of the new station was bound for Sungai Kolok on Thailand's southern border with Malaysia. Many Thais, however, are lamenting the shunting aside of the previous terminal Hua Lompong station at the edge of Bangkok's Chinatown. All is not lost for the nostalgic. However, several lines running locally and to the east will still wend their way to the older, more central station. For the time being, at least 62 trains will use it daily. I think they've been talking about turning it into a shopping centre or a museum. I'm pretty sure whatever they do with it, though, in the long term, they'll retain the old terminal, built back in 1915, I think. But it is quite an iconic building with its huge arched ceiling, and I hope they do retain it in some way. I'm pretty sure they will. To our next story today from the PatiaNews.com. And a car carrying 6 migrant workers overturns and catches fire in Pattaya. A sedan carrying 6 Burmese workers overturned and burst into flames, and rescuers and firefighters rushed to the accident scene near the Three Kingdoms theme park in Chonburi's Banglamung district. 6 victims were injured, 3 seriously. They were all Burmese workers and couldn't speak Thai. The victims were transported to the Banglamung hospital to receive medical treatment. And an eyewitness told police he saw the sedan suddenly lose control, hit a tree, then overturn, and the victims crawled out of the car to escape the fire just in time. Hopefully they all recover, and at least sort of a semi-happy ending with at least them all escaping. And with that, we thank you very much for watching today's program, the last for this week. Tomorrow we've got our live program. I'm not exactly sure what we're doing tomorrow. We have threatened that we're going to be doing a special retirement program. We haven't been able to pull that together yet. With all this new equipment, we'll be able to do it much easier. We've also got a special program coming up talking about the use of solar power in Thailand. They're coming up in the coming weeks, and our auction of those baby elephants. But from next week, we do welcome Nick to the program. It's going to be difficult for him. It's first full-time job I think he's had, but he's a clever kid, and we look forward to having him on the program each day. And we look forward to you returning each day as well, as we do our best to bring you up to date with all the things that are happening around Thailand. But from me, thank you for watching. Thanks to 5 Star Marine, our sponsor, and we'll see you tomorrow.